Good morning, everybody. Dave Ward coming to you bright and early here from San Diego. It's about 4:45 in the morning and I couldn't sleep. So I decided to get my ass up and get to work because that is what entrepreneurs do. If you feel an inch to get up and work, get up and work. That's a great thing about controlling your schedule. But today we're talking about your fitness why, which really comes down to your story. And so I want to show you a framework for how to share your story and how to share your fitness why in a way that I think is compelling and will get people a little bit more interested than if you just kind of sort of come out and say, this is my why. So my fitness why, I'll just kind of tell you my story. My fitness why when it comes to Beachbody really starts in 2003. That's when Monica ordered Power 90 and we first started working out at home. But it really kind of happens before then. In high school, I was an athlete. I played basketball, and I only played basketball. I was like the gym rat kid. When my friends were playing football, I was shooting free throws and then playing one-on-one with anybody who would play. When my friends were playing baseball, I was doing the same thing. And I loved playing basketball. And when I went to college, started playing intramural sports, and actually was my cousin, a guy named Fred Trinkle, was coaching the San Diego State basketball team, which is nowhere near as good as it is now. And my other cousin Brady and I were trying out for the practice squad. And one night while we were doing that, we were playing just pickup ball at a gym. It had been a long day, and we had been at the gym earlier, and we were training, and I played one too many games, and I came down on a fast break, and guy got up underneath me, and I landed, and I heard this loud pop, and my knee just exploded. And I tore my ACL and torn some cartilage in my meniscus, pretty common knee injury. Had surgery. The rehab didn't go very well. I was kind of burned out on it, and didn't give it everything I probably should have. And was, you know, at like about 25 years old, kind of starting to age really quickly. Fast forward about 10 years to 2003, and I was an old man in a 36-year-old's body. You know, I started playing golf by then. It's about all I could do to play golf. I was about as athletic as it was going to get for me at that time in my life, and I had really kind of resigned myself to that just being okay. I actually used to wear a knee brace playing golf, which I used to get a lot of crap for. But that was where I was at, and I had also gained some weight. Not a lot of weight. My fitness story isn't a huge weight transformation. You know, I lost 40 pounds, which is a big deal in my life. But the bigger thing for me was that when I started to get into Power 90 and then went on and did P90X, my knee got stronger and stronger and stronger, and it started to hurt less and less and less. And then I also noticed that I could do more and more. You know, I slowly started to be able to do all of plyometrics X or all of legs and back, and not have to, you know, stop and modify like I did in the beginning. That led me to get into triathlon, and I became a triathlete. And then I got really into cycling. I still ride my road bike and my mountain bike, even though I don't do a whole lot of triathlon anymore. I just never really liked the running, really, was what it was mainly for me. I'm able to do it physically, I just don't like it. You know, I'd been a snowboarder for years and decided to pick up skiing a few years ago. And for some of you guys know, Greg Plaskett and I ski together. You know, within 3 years of putting on a pair of skis, I'm climbing to the summit at Breckenridge with him and skiing double black diamonds down. I can do all that stuff because of Beachbody, and so my fitness why is really centered around staying active. I'm also a surfer. I kind of forgot that story, but that's another thing that I've picked up over the years. What I figured out is that I'm a lot more athletic than maybe I was giving myself credit for back then. And I found all that because of Beachbody and because of our incredible programs. And so my fitness why is really centered around that. And as you'll probably see if you follow me, which I suggest you do, don't send me a friend request, just follow me. Almost everything I share is public. That's always a part of what I'm going to be talking about. I'm always going to be talking about outdoor sports because that's what I'm really passionate about, and that's what motivates me to work out. You have to figure out what your fitness why is and learn how to tell your story. Look at what the story is. Here's the framework of the story, okay? 1, for Beachbody. right? I told you about being a high school athlete. I told you about blowing out my knee. I told you about playing golf. I told you about kind of being, you know, resigned to just being an old man at age 36. Life before Beachbody. Before Beachbody, my life was like this. Okay, 2. I found, what'd you find? Okay, what I found was Power 90 and then P90X, and then ultimately Shakeology and all the other great things in Performance Line. And you know, I've got smaller stories that fit into this larger framework all over the place, you know, with each one of these products. But what'd you find? Was it, you know, it probably wasn't Power 90 for you. Okay, so I found this solution. Okay, I did. What'd you do? You heard me tell my story. I kept at it, even though my knee really hurt and I couldn't even do Power 90. And like some of the lunges, squats, I couldn't even do that stuff. Much less go up to P90X. When we started doing P90X, I couldn't do plyometrics X, so we did cardio X mostly because I couldn't do plyo. It was too hard. It was too hard on my knee. So what I do, I modified stuff until I could do the bigger workouts, and then that led me into blah, 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 right? All this other stuff, triathlon, right? And number 4, now my life is, so before Beachbody, my life was I found the solution. I did whatever you did. Now my life is like this. This right here should have something to do with your why. Okay, if for example, one of the most powerful stories that gets told in Beachbody is the post-pregnancy baby weight story. Before Beachbody, here's what my life was like. My body, I was busy, you know, postpartum, whatever goes on for those people. I found whatever, PIO, whatever your thing is. I did whatever you did. Now my life is, this probably has something to do with your kids being your why. But I hope you can see the power of this framework versus just saying, just jumping down here to the big conclusion and telling people my why for fitness is my kids. It's just not as powerful as if you go through this framework and you show people what you did and how you did it, and that if you struggled along the way, that you struggled along the way. I always will include with people, with my story, the little bit, I usually go a little bit more in depth with it, you know, we're kind of pressed for time here, but I usually will go into how I modified. I do that because it shows people some weakness in me. They sort of see me as maybe like, you know, this guy who does all this stuff, and today that's really true. I don't have knee problems anymore, but I have to show them that I struggled, so that I can connect to them and they can help and they can maybe connect to my story. Don't worry that your fitness why is not somebody else's why. My why for being good at outdoor sports is not the why of most of my customers. That doesn't matter. But people can connect to my story because they just recognize that I just overcame an obstacle. That's all it's really about, is I had this obstacle, it was my knee. For them, it may be their heart. It may be a weight issue. It could be anything. The important thing is that they recognize that before Beachbody, my life was like this. Then I found this solution. Then I did this. Now my life is like that. Okay? That's the basic framework for a story. Get busy telling it and talking to people about your fitness why. And you find that more and more people are going to be interested in what you have to say when they hear your story. Because stories sell and facts tell. All right, guys.